is a weird question. Every so often you get a really weird one, and this is one of them. What are your thoughts and tips for other individuals with autism spectrum disorders who have meltdowns? And the honest truth is, I mean, what really can I say? It is a part of the autism experience to have meltdowns. And even with all of the understanding and all of the design and all of the years of study and self-discipline and biofeedback and all the different types of things that I use to avoid meltdowns or to make them less catastrophic. Meltdowns are a part of the autism experience. And that's true. Every so often I have to call Amazon.com and I melt down because they get on my nerves sometimes. I don't like absolute foolishness, and sometimes when I'm exposed to absolute foolishness that confuses me and just, it makes no sense whatsoever, I melt down. I truly and genuinely lose it. And my friends have to say, Wolf, hold on, I got this. And I need to be rescued by my friends because they know that I am just 1 minute away from doing something particularly terrible. So, it says, what are the tips? Well, like I always say, you have to embrace the werewolf. You have to embrace the fact that meltdowns, no matter how hard you try, to a degree, are always going to be part of the autistic experience. Now, what you can do is those people in your life that are most important to you, those people that you work with, those people who are your family, those people who are your friends, inoculate them against the fact that this is going to happen. If you know me long enough, if you work with me long enough, if you stay around me long enough, if you're friends with me long enough, eventually you're going to see the werewolf come out. You're going to see the meltdown. You're going to see the behaviors that are unbecoming. You're going to see the behaviors that make you somewhat uncomfortable. You're going to see this and you're going to see that, and you take them through the meltdown and say, these are the things you might see. Just as if you were a real, or just as if you were a fictional werewolf. You take them through what a meltdown looks like. And you let them know why it happens. I'm so confused, the systems are overloaded. I'm flooded with so much noise, so much light, so much social interaction where people want the answer right now, right now, right now. To where my systems for cognitive abilities and my systems for processing reality break down. And when everything breaks down, what you see is my raw self. And you help people understand that this is part of the autism experience. And you're not asking for them to excuse it. You're not asking them to, oh, please forgive. You're telling them that this is part of who I am. If you can't handle that, then it might be good for us not to be friends. But if you are truly my friend, I want you to know this because it is part of who I am. And if our friendship grows to be such, I may one day need you to help me calm down or help get me out of there. If there's a place where there's lights and there's noise and there's clapping and there's, all this commotion and people are asking you questions and it's just sensory overload and social overload and everything's overloading, sometimes my friends have said, Wolf, let's get out of here. Because my friends know that such an environment isn't good for me. So as an autistic person, if you're going to have meltdowns, you have to empower your friends. You have to empower your family. You have to empower your coworkers. Because if you do not, then you will be going through the meltdown by yourself with no support and all the people around you afraid, shocked, dismayed, scared, and all these other emotions that are unproductive. So if you want to know what my tip is for a person who still has meltdowns, you have to inoculate those around you so that they expect the negatives that come with a meltdown, and you empower them with things that they can do, constructive things. Come on, let's go down and have a cup of coffee. Come on, let's go ride the elevator up to 16. Because you love the elevator. I just found a new one in another building. Let's go see it. Come on down and let me show you my new motorcycle. The thing is, anything that derails that meltdown. Like I said. And it, again, just like I always say, what exactly derails the meltdown? I can't give you an exact, I can tell you what derails mine. But that autistic person that is your friend, that is your coworker, that is your family member, you have to talk to that person honestly and openly and find out what are the things that I can do to short circuit that meltdown. Something to lure the werewolf, come with me, let me show you something. Sort of like meat, you put a piece of meat on the end of the stick and he'll follow you everywhere. Well, you need to find that thing that will short circuit the meltdown. Riding an elevator, coming to see a motorcycle, or, I know where some really awesome light bulbs are that, you haven't seen these. You haven't seen anything like this. That's how you short circuit a meltdown. And like I said, that's what I would suggest. Now, this person actually came up with a second question. Some people do that. Should young children with autism spectrum disorders participate in social groups to learn to follow neurotypical social norms, or just determine more functional social interactions? And the answer to that is, I would dare say, almost no. Children that are living on the autism spectrum, if you ask me, should attend social groups. They should participate in social groups. That's vital, because a child on the autism spectrum is going to have to live in this neurotypical world, and they're going to have to learn the things to survive in this neurotypical world, and that's not going to change. So yes, they should understand social norms. And yes, they should be challenged to determine how they are going to engineer a response so that they can follow neurotypical social norms. But that's the thing. Always understand that a person that is living on the autism spectrum, a child that's living on the autism spectrum, is not naturally following social norms because they feel some innate need to follow social norms or neurotypical social norms. What an autistic child is doing is engineering a response, engineering an act that allows them to survive by responding the way people expect. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Don't make it more than it is. Don't oversell it. Neurotypical children respond in neurotypical ways because they have an internal, social, psychological, psychiatric, physical, and all these other things, all these other different things that drive them to be social, and to be social in a way that is typical. An autistic person does not have that drive. Or if they do have that drive, they don't have the wherewithal to develop a purely emotional need, desire, and understanding to behave the way neurotypical people do. We behave socially because we engineer responses. We engineer the responses we think will work. I mean, that's just what a werewolf would do. You're trying to fit in. You're engineering systems that allow you to fit in. Because left to yourself, naturally, you wouldn't fit in. And so, like I said, things become functional. Like like people will say, "Well, Wolf, you're very good. You're functional when it comes to interacting with people," and they're right. Because I've been studying neurotypical interactions like an anthropologist for the last 60 years. I'm an old, grizzled autistic werewolf. I've been studying humankind for 60 years, and I'm not stupid. And as a result, in 60 years of studying neurotypicals, I'm pretty good at surviving in your midst. But it doesn't mean that I'm still not somebody who can melt down and who can have, autistic traits show up at the most inopportune times. I know that. So, and that will always be the case. So I hope I've answered those two questions. Thank you very much.